All right, Steelers Nation, before we dive into today's breaking story, make sure you hit that like button to support the channel. The Pittsburgh Steelers are doing everything they can to keep improving and building a team that can compete with the best in the AFC. You can really feel that drive to get better every single week, whether it's tweaking the roster, experimenting with schemes, or bringing back familiar faces who know what it means to wear the black and gold. And that's exactly what happened this week. The Steelers have officially brought back defensive lineman Demarvin Leal just days after releasing him from the active roster. Yep, you heard that right. Leal is back in Pittsburgh, this time on the practice squad, and fans are already buzzing about what this move could mean for the defense moving forward. Let's break it all down, because there's more to this story than just another roster shuffle. So, just before the Steelers' Week 10 matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers, the team made headlines by releasing former third-round pick Demarvin Leal. It seemed like his time in Pittsburgh might have come to an end. After all, this is a guy who's been in the organization since 2022, and while he's flashed talent, consistency has been the biggest challenge. But in true Steelers fashion, Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin weren't ready to close the book on him just yet. Only days after being released, Leal has been re-signed to the practice squad, giving him another opportunity to stay in the system, keep developing, and potentially work his way back to the 53-man roster. This is a classic Steelers move, smart, strategic, and cost-effective. They know Leal still has potential, even if his fit hasn't been perfect. When the Steelers drafted Demarvin Leal out of Texas A&M in the third round of the 2022 NFL Draft, expectations were sky high. Standing 6'4", weighing around 290 pounds, and possessing elite athleticism, Leal was viewed as a potential hybrid pass rusher, someone who could line up at defensive end or even slide inside when needed. Some scouts compared his physical profile to Bud Dupree, another athletic edge rusher who blossomed in Pittsburgh's system. The hope was that Leal would follow that same developmental path, but as the seasons went on, that transformation never quite materialized. Leal appeared in 31 total games over 4 seasons, including 12 during the 2023 campaign. As a rotational defender, he's had some solid moments, 29 total tackles, flashes of burst, and the kind of size you can't teach. But the problem? He's never really found a true role that fits what the Steelers want to do schematically. And that's been the real sticking point here. Demarvin Leal's skill set screams 4-3 defensive end, but the Steelers have long been committed to their traditional 3-4 base defense. That means their edge defenders, guys like T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, are asked to drop into coverage, handle hybrid responsibilities, and constantly shift in alignment. That's not really Leal's game. He's a pure rusher, not someone built for space and coverage. And that's why his opportunities have started to fade. In this year's training camp, he found himself buried behind names like Nick Herbig and rookie Jack Sawyer, two players who seem more naturally suited to what the Steelers ask of their outside linebackers. Leal's size and style make him more of a hand-in-the-dirt lineman than a stand-up pass rusher. And as much as the Steelers value versatility, it's hard to keep a player active on game days if he doesn't fit perfectly into your scheme. Now, to be fair, this doesn't look like a punishment or a farewell. It looks more like a strategic reassignment. The Steelers clearly still believe in Demarvin Leal's talent. They just want to see if he can continue developing without taking up a valuable active roster spot. And make no mistake, practice squad players are incredibly valuable, especially this deep into the season. Leal is now serving as a scout team defensive specialist, helping the offense prepare for upcoming opponents. Most NFL teams run a 4-3 base defense, which means Leal can give the Steelers' offensive line realistic reps against the kind of long, athletic defensive ends they'll see on Sundays. That's not just valuable, it's crucial. So while Leal may not be suiting up on game day for now, he's still making an impact.
This move also connects directly to a few other Steelers roster changes this week. Pittsburgh elevated running back Trey Sermon from the practice squad to the active roster, a move that's been in the works for weeks. Sermon had already been elevated 3 times earlier this season, and by league rule, the team had to either sign him to the 53-man roster or risk losing him. The Steelers chose to lock him in. Sermon has quietly contributed on special teams and even handled some kickoff duties. Now he's officially part of the main roster, adding depth behind Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. At the same time, the team also brought linebacker Mark Robinson up for game day. Robinson, a 7th-round pick from 2022, has bounced between the active roster and the practice squad, but remains a trusted special teamer and depth piece for the defense. And then, with those elevations creating space, the Steelers turned right around and re-signed Demarvin Leal to the practice squad. It's a puzzle, and once again, Omar Khan and the front office are proving they're playing chess, not checkers. So what's the next chapter for Demarvin Leal in Pittsburgh? Realistically, unless injuries strike the defensive line or edge room, it's unlikely we'll see him promoted to the 53-man roster again this season. But don't confuse that with being forgotten. The Steelers still have every reason to keep developing him, especially since Isaac Seumalo, their veteran left guard, could be nearing retirement after this season. That could lead to another offseason full of roster shuffling and opportunities for players like Leal to reassert themselves. He's still only 24 years old. He still has all the physical traits that got him drafted, and he's in an environment where the team knows how to develop talent. Remember, this franchise has turned mid-round defensive picks into household names before. The question is, can Demarvin Leal put it all together before the clock runs out on his Pittsburgh story? When a player who's a former Defensive Player of the Year, a guy with 113 career sacks and a future Hall of Fame jacket waiting for him, stops what he's doing to praise another player, that means something. Watt was asked after practice on Friday about what Ramsey has brought to this Steelers defense, and his answer couldn't have been more telling. He's hungry, man. A guy that's done everything in the National Football League you can possibly do, and he's still so hungry. A guy that's playing phenomenal football. He brings just a tenacious outlook on football and how he plays the game. That speaks to the culture. Getting hats on the ball, playing with swag, all the stuff that Jaylen does. That's not just flattery, that's recognition from one elite player to another. And the key word there, hungry.
Ramsey's been in the league a decade. He's a Super Bowl champion, a 7-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro, and one of the most physically gifted cornerbacks this game has ever seen. And yet, here he is in 2025, still diving for tackles, still chirping after big stops, still chasing perfection. That's exactly the kind of energy Mike Tomlin loves. That's exactly why the Steelers made that blockbuster trade to bring him to Pittsburgh. Ramsey's 2025 season so far, the numbers don't lie. At 31 years old, you might expect some drop-off from a cornerback who's been through the grind of 10 NFL seasons. But Jalen Ramsey? He looks rejuvenated in black and gold. So far this year, Ramsey has started all 8 games for Mike Tomlin and defensive coordinator Terrell Austin, and he's making his presence felt everywhere. He's recorded 35 total tackles, 5 pass deflections, 3 QB hits, 2 tackles for loss, and even snagged 1 interception. Those aren't just solid veteran numbers. Those are impact stats. And more than that, Ramsey's voice and energy have become a rallying point for this defense. He's the guy hyping up the sidelines, demanding accountability, setting the tone in meetings. TJ Watt sees that, and you can tell he appreciates it, because Watt's always been the kind of leader who leads by example, the first in drills, the last off the field. Seeing another veteran with that same intensity, that fires him up even more. Let's take a second to appreciate how loaded this Steelers defense is with proven, battle-tested veterans. You've got TJ Watt, the face of the franchise and one of the most dominant pass rushers of the past decade. You've got Cam Hayward, a 7-time Pro Bowler and emotional anchor of this defense. You've got Darius Slay, a 6-time Pro Bowl corner who knows how to match up with the league's best wideouts. And now, Jalen Ramsey, adding swagger, physicality, and elite coverage ability to an already fierce unit. That's a lot of leadership, experience, and pride packed into one defense. And according to Watt, it's that mix, that veteran hunger, that's driving the team's success right now. The defense is turning the corner. Now, let's talk about performance. We all know the Steelers' defense didn't look like itself early in the season. Missed tackles, blown coverages, communication issues. It was frustrating, especially for a fan base that's used to seeing top-5 defense year after year. But in Week 9 against the Indianapolis Colts, something clicked. Terrell Austin simplified the scheme, the guys got back to their fundamentals, and the results were incredible. The Colts came into that game with the #1 ranked offense in the NFL, and Pittsburgh flat out shut them down. 6 total turnovers forced, 3 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor held to just 45 rushing yards. One of the most dominant defensive performances of the season. That's the kind of performance that reminds everyone why the Steelers are so dangerous when their defense is locked in. Ramsey contributed with 5 tackles and a key third-down stop. Watt added a sack, forced fumble, and recovery, the kind of game-wrecking sequence we've come to expect from him. It was vintage Steelers football, physical, punishing, and relentless. Next up, Chargers showdown under the lights. Now the focus shifts to Sunday Night Football, where the Steelers head out west to face the 6-3 Los Angeles Chargers in primetime. This will be the 3rd primetime appearance in 4 weeks for Pittsburgh, and you know what that means. The nation's eyes are going to be on this defense. The Chargers, led by Justin Herbert, have one of the top 5 offenses in the league, but they're banged up right now. Their offensive line is hurting, and their backfield is thin. That's an opportunity for Watt, Hayward, and Ramsey to take over this game. And if there's one thing Steelers fans know, it's that our defense thrives when the lights are bright. Don't be surprised if you see Ramsey shadowing the Chargers' top receiver all night, flying around the secondary like a man half his age. Watt and Hayward will bring the pressure up front, and this could easily turn into another statement performance from the black and gold. What it means going forward. If the Steelers can keep playing this kind of football, tough defense, smart offense, and veteran leadership, there's no reason this team can't widen its lead in the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens are breathing down their necks, but this is the moment to separate. And the players leading that charge? Guys like Watt and Ramsey, who set the tone every day. The culture in Pittsburgh has always been about grit, accountability, and hunger. And seeing 2 superstars feed off each other's energy like this, that's special. That's championship DNA. All right, Steelers Nation, it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about this move? Was it the right call to bring Demarvin Leal back to the practice squad, or do you think it's time for Pittsburgh to move on completely? Do you still see potential in him, maybe as a rotational pass rusher or even as a future depth piece if injuries pile up? Or do you think the Steelers should start looking elsewhere for that developmental edge player they've been chasing since Bud Dupree's departure? Let me know what you think down in the comments, because I know this fan base never holds back. And before we wrap up, if you love getting inside updates like this, breaking down the real moves the Steelers make behind the scenes, and being part of one of the most passionate football communities out there, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next big Steelers story. The black and gold are always evolving, and as we've seen once again, the Steelers are never afraid to take a second look at one of their own. Maybe, just maybe, Demarvin Leal's second chance could turn into something bigger down the line. Thanks for watching, Steelers Nation, and as always, here we go.